Greater Bandung is one of Indonesia's most densely populated and culturally vital urban centers. Yet beneath this urban sprawl lies a critical vulnerability, a recurring waste crisis that regularly chokes the city's waterways with plastic debris. This is TPA Sarimukti. As the region's primary centralized landfill, it currently operates in a state of severe overcapacity, receiving thousands of tons of waste beyond its engineered limit. Relying on a single end-of-pipe dumping ground for a population of millions creates a guaranteed point of failure. When Sarimukti reaches capacity, the entire regional waste system immediately backs up. The mountains of trash at Sarimukti are the physical evidence of a systemic administrative collapse in how the city manages its output. The central paradox of this crisis is that, on paper, local government has already solved it. In 2018, the city passed Regional Regulation No. 9, a legal framework explicitly mandating a shift away from centralized dumping toward neighborhood-level management. This zero-waste zone model requires organic waste to be processed at the neighborhood level, rather than being hauled to a distant landfill. However, in practice, these nodes fail, creating a massive implementation gap between legal theory and physical reality. Mandating a decentralized system without redesigning the underlying fiscal and logistical architecture to support it ensures that the system will crash. To find the cause of this gap, we have to look at how the money moves. The first failure vector is budget asymmetry. The city's mandate forces neighborhood leaders to establish local organic processing sites, such as composters or maggot farms. While the city delegated legal responsibility for waste processing, it failed to provide decentralized funding to keep local sites running. Existing local funds, like the PIPPK, are biased toward physical infrastructure or ceremonial events, leaving day-to-day management with zero allocated funding. This missing link is OPEX, or operational expenditures, the essential daily wages and maintenance costs required to keep a facility functional. The government prefers one-off physical purchases, or CAPEX, which look good on balance sheets, but inevitably fail without dedicated operators. Passing a mandate without providing OPEX creates an unfunded liability, forcing local environmental initiatives to bankrupt themselves almost immediately. The second failure vector emerges when citizens actually follow the law and sort their trash. The model depends on households separating organic compostables from non-organic recyclables at the source. But the logistical chain breaks at the point of collection, when the municipal transport fleet arrives. City sanitation crews frequently take the perfectly sorted citizen waste and mix it back together inside the trucks to save time or space. This logistical failure invalidates hours of citizen labor. It sends a clear message that individual efforts are meaningless. When the government's own collection system destroys the sorting process, it erodes public trust and discourages further participation. This is coupled with an enforcement vacuum. There are no penalties for those who refuse to sort and no rewards for those who comply. Broken municipal logistics actively condition the public to ignore environmental regulations. If we zoom out, we find the third failure factor, the absence of a circular ecosystem. Currently, the city treats municipal waste as a cost center, a linear liability that exists only to drain the budget. In a circular economy, these materials are captured and reintegrated as valuable economic inputs. The first major missing component in Bandung's formal plan is the informal sector. Scavengers and aggregators do the heavy lifting of urban recycling, yet they remain unrecognized and unsupported by formal city policy. The second missing component is the corporate producers, whose packaging currently floods the city. Integrating these companies requires extended producer responsibility, or EPR, a framework that holds corporations legally liable for the end-of-life cleanup of their products. By failing to enforce EPR, the city government absorbs 100% of the financial burden for cleaning up corporate plastic waste. Ignoring informal workers and shielding corporate polluters guarantees that the city will continue to exhaust its budget fighting the waste crisis alone. To solve the Sarimukti paradox, the city must implement a comprehensive redesign of budget governance. Currently, the city pays massive tipping fees, per-ton disposal charges, just to bury waste at Sarimukti. The government must redirect those millions away from the centralized landfill. This capital should become direct operational subsidies for organic processing facilities at the local district level. Fixing the crisis requires the city to stop funding the failure at the landfill and start funding the solution at the source. The final requirement is an enforcement mechanism, tiered waste retributions established by mayoral decree. This pricing model forces compliance. Households that produce large volumes of unsorted mixed waste face exponentially higher monthly fees. Conversely, households that actively sort their waste are rewarded with a heavily subsidized low-cost pricing tier. These financial disincentives must be supported by technical facilitators who teach households how to adapt their waste habits. Passing environmental laws is meaningless without aligning the finances and the logistics to support them. By replacing the illusion of decentralization with a robust fiscal architecture, Bandung can engineer a true circular ecosystem and finally close the chapter on TPA Sarimukti.